Hello, Tahila here. I just want to share something that came to mind today again. And there's a lot of talk these days about masculine and feminine, and the masculine energy and the feminine energy. The masculine thing is completely something I want to get into in a different post, where I really feel sorry for the men of today. I think that there's been so much change of expectations and roles and very little leniency for what that means to men. But that aside, we'll talk about that another day. I want to share my thoughts on the masculine and feminine, especially from a mother's role. And what I see so often, basically, what masculine and feminine in this context means is the masculine is the male dominance of provision. It's the energy of provision. It's meant to be this, not the male dominance, excuse that. It's the masculine energy is that space of do, the push, that got to get things done. So it's the one after the other, being able to be that go-getter, do. It's the energy needed for momentum, for getting things done, for going forward, for following the intuition or the guidance. It's that energy of doing stuff. And the feminine energy relates to more being the space of creation. So it's that birthing concept of birthing ideas, birthing clarity, birthing vision, birthing intuition. It's the space for receiving insight, the space for receiving things. And on top of that, I see it as the space for when you're resting, the one fight, flight, freeze, you've got the rest and digest. So it's also that space when they talk about digestion, where our body gets to digest, process, use, fix, heal. So the feminine energy is this nurturing space where you get to heal yourself, as well as this receiving space where you get to receive insights and creative ideas. That's why you might have found that you'll be like pushing and working deadline after deadline. You take a morning off and you go for a swim or a walk, and these big ideas just come flowing to you. It was that space from pushing to leaning back into receiving. And what I find with moms especially, but a lot of women that I work with, is that we've adapted a lot of masculine energy. We've got to make sure that everything's in order. We're juggling what the house needs, what the kids need, what our partners need, what the dogs need, all these things that need to be done, that we forget about our feminine space, this side. And I think we sometimes mistake that with self-care. And self-care practices like a bubble bath can be that stepping back and saying, you know what do I need? But it's that space to make room for receiving, to make this opening, to make this space of clarity that you can just be without doing. And when we allow ourselves that space, not only do we feel better, but we become better parents, partners, colleagues, employers, employees. It helps us to live better. So it's just been interesting for me to see how we as women can sometimes forget about the feminine side of us, that feminine energy, that space of receiving. And that is not a luxury, that is not a extra, it's divine who we are. And we can be so powerful when we tap more into that space of allowing us to receive. And I think that a lot of women that I work with, I've been there myself, where you're so driven and you're doing, you're trying to support everyone, hoping it's going to translate as support back to you. You're trying to, appreciate and value everyone, hoping that that's going to translate back to you. But a lot of times people can't give us those compliments, give us that space, because we're not very good at taking. We're not very good at receiving. So I would just like you to ponder on these thoughts and think, how can you balance your masculine and your feminine energy more? And do you struggle with receiving, and what can you do about it? How can you allow yourself to receive more? Have a beautiful day. Cheers.